Do you make this mistake? Or like this? Don't worry, this is a very common beginner mistake when starting out at left foot braking. And you can see in the slow motion clip that I'm going to initiate my donut okay, I'm going to maintain it okay. Everything's going good up until I actually apply my left foot brake. And there's a tendency for beginners to slam on the brake and actually spin out because of this, at least in donuts. If, for example, you are drifting at a low angle, you're accelerating, you slam on the brakes, you lock up your front tires. In that case, you can actually start to understeer, so the opposite effect of increasing angle. So you can see in these examples that I am maintaining my donuts okay, so everything's okay up until I apply my brake pressure. In these examples, I'm slamming on my brakes. I'm also abruptly releasing them also, so this really does cause an effect of me spinning out. You can see that over here I slam on it and I spin up. So now we'll go on to the fix. And number one, it is to make sure that you ease on the brakes. So make sure that as you're beginning at left foot braking, you start to apply the brakes gradually. So you apply more brakes gradually and not get to a certain percentage of brakes straight away like you would in, for example, traditional racing, where you'd get into your braking zone, you would apply full brakes, let's say, and then you would start to bleed off the brakes as you get deeper into the braking zone. So that would be known as trail braking. In this case, we are left foot braking, and as beginners, usually you'd want a smooth technique where you apply more brakes gradually. However, there are cases, of course, where you get more advanced in this technique and then you'd want to get on the brakes quickly. So number two, it is to make sure that you use slight brake pressure, and I recommend around 0 to 20% for donuts. Of course, there are cases where this cannot apply. And number three, it is to make sure that you use left foot braking for angle control. For example, if you want to add more angle, you can apply a bit more brakes and vice versa, so the opposite is true for the opposite effect. Now the effects of left foot braking, you can see that over here I'm applying brakes and I am rotating my car as I apply the brakes. I'm adding more angle as I apply the brakes. So this is one of the most noticeable effects of left foot braking. You can see that my car pivots from the front. This is because as I'm braking, I'm also slowing down my front tires. My rear tires are still spinning, and like that I swing out the rear. And you can see that the car pitches up and down. So it pitches down when I get on the brakes. When I release the brakes, it goes to a more neutral position. And this has to do with weight transfer. So as I get on the brakes, as my nose dives, there's more grip at the front tires. So now we'll go on to a good example and homework. So the homework over here is to make sure that you maintain a donut. If you can't do that, go and watch my previous tutorials on how to maintain and initiate a donut, for example, and then come back to this. So over here, you want to make sure that you bleed on the brakes just a bit, just apply a small amount of brakes, keep it there, and then bleed off the brakes. So this is the exercise to get on the brakes and then release, and you continue this process. And like this, you will make sure that you get finer control over the brakes, and you'll understand how to use them better on different parts of the track. So you can see from the outside view that I am applying the brakes slightly, and then I am releasing. And as I'm releasing, I'm also going to expect more speed, so I'm going to gain a lot more speed. So that's why I release the brakes gradually. If you're interested, I have my SimDrift Mastery ebook linked below. It goes through different advanced techniques, it goes through setups, and even things like preparing to compete for competitions. If you're interested, it's the link below. Thank you for watching, please like and subscribe. Thank you.